Hello friends, today we've got a steak dinner for y'all. This is a ribeye steak that I picked up from Trader Joe's for about $14. We've also got some steamed broccoli here, some sweet baked potatoes, and then of course some brown rice. The way that I prepare this is pretty simple. I mean, like I said, this is steamed, this is baked, and this is put in a rice cooker. The steak itself, I actually put it into a sous vide for about an hour or so, and then I grilled it on the stovetop for about 3 minutes on each side. The great thing about the sous vide, if you guys aren't aware, is that it evenly cooks your food and it keeps it at the optimal temperature for the set amount of time. And so your food cooks and turns out consistent each and every time you make it. I've been using my sous vide for about the past 2 years or so. Picked it up on Amazon on a Black Friday for about $100. It's, I think, from Jewel or something. But it's been awesome for cooking steaks, salmons, any types of proteins. I think you can use it for a lot of other items, but I tend to stick with cooking seafood and meats with my sous vide. This is something that I eat probably once every few weeks. I try not to eat too much red meat, but I was craving steak for some reason today. This steak was sitting in my fridge for the past couple of days and I don't want to keep it there too long. I typically like it a little bit more kind of medium. I don't like it rare or too bloody, and I also don't like it too well done. So somewhere in the middle is just perfect for me. So hopefully we'll be able to cut into it and see what it looks like. But I'm starving right now, so let's get into the food. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off a piece here. All right. Let's see. Oh, that is a good cut. Let me show you guys what that looks like. All right, look at that. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's not too blurry. Definitely is not too pink and it's not too well done. The meat seems pretty tender. Let's go in for a bite and actually see how it turned out. Wow. That's good steak. Oh wow. Just the right amount of fat. That is some good steak, man. Oh, man, the sous vide is one of the best kitchen appliance investments I've ever made. Now there's some fat here. I like a little bit of fat in my steak, but the big fatty chunks, I usually just take it out because I don't want that in my body. So I'm just gonna trim some of this off. Ooh, there's a big chunk of fat here. Definitely don't want to eat that. So I'll just go ahead and put this off to the side. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that juicy fattiness. Definitely don't want that. I mean, it's gonna add a lot more flavor if you eat it with the meat. I know some people do, but for me, it's just too much. I like a little bit of fat, but this is a little too heavy. So I'm just gonna trim that off and then we'll get to the good stuff later. All right, so here we go. It's perfect, man. Also, I don't have A1 sauce. I don't know how many of you guys actually eat steak with A1. To each their own. I mean, if it's around, I'll use a little bit of it, but most of the time I just like to eat it the way it is. Also, I don't use some fancy marinade, to be honest, with my steaks. Before I even put it into the sous vide, I'll put it into a Ziploc bag, put some salt, some garlic salt on it, as well as some cracked black pepper, and then just douse it in a little bit of olive oil, and then just kind of mix it around, tenderize it a little bit, and then put it into the sous vide to cook. But that's really all you need. I mean, we really don't need too much to make a flavorful, delicious steak. Also, I can't remember if this is a choice or a prime cut. I mean, it tastes pretty good, and Trader Joe's quality of foods are pretty solid. So, I mean, at the price point, I think it's actually a pretty good deal. Honestly, when I go to the store, and the few times that I do get like red meat, I'll usually go for at least the mid tier or the higher tier, just because you want that good quality and you want, cows that have been, being able to graze out in the open and not just in a stall somewhere. Honestly, I think that's the humane way to grow and raise meat. Also, this is a special type of brown rice. My mom actually introduced me to it. She picked it up from H Mart when I last visited home. And apparently it's not the original brown rice where it's got the husk and everything and it's kind of hard to cook and hard to peel. This is kind of the midway version where some of the outside shell has already been taken out. So it's still got some of the properties of brown rice, the health benefits, but it's a little bit easier to cook and it's a little bit easier to eat as well. If you go to the store, I think it's called like obun rice or something like that. But I bought a bag of it and I have it at home now, and so far I like it a lot. It's definitely harder and you have to chew more often than white rice, but I figure, it's a little bit more of a healthier option, and I kind of like the taste a little bit better too. Ribeye steak so good. And the meat is so tender. So juicy. Yeah, it might taste better on a charcoal grill. But right now, living in this condo, I don't have that option. But once I get my own place, I think it'll be a great way to cook. But man, the sous vide, it's pretty damn good. Now with the sweet potatoes, the way I make this is pretty simple. I get the sweet potatoes from Costco, and I just chop it up into smaller pieces, put it into a pan, and then I'll mix it up with some cayenne pepper, some salt, a little bit of pepper, toss it with some olive oil, and put in a little bit of honey. And then I toss it around and then bake it into the oven for about 60 minutes at 400 degrees. And it comes out perfect. This is also a great item if you want to meal prep, right? Because you could put it into those Tupperware containers and it'll last in the fridge for a week or two. And you can always just heat it up in the microwave, pair it with some carbs, some proteins, some veggies, and it's just a great way to get those starches. So I highly recommend making your own sweet potatoes at home because it's just so easy and it's just so cost efficient. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time I went to a steakhouse. I think the last time was House of Prime Rib in San Francisco. I mean, they're obviously closed or only doing to-go now, but obviously their steaks are good. I mean, but when you go to those places, I mean, it's nice. You get the experience, you got the ambiance. Obviously the food is amazing. But at the end of the night, with a bottle of wine, you're paying around $100. This, you can make at home for less than 20 bucks. This is a lot of food. I don't know how heavy this steak is. It's probably at least a pound and a half. So what is that in ounces? Maybe 24 ounces? And that's a decently sized steak. Cut some extra fat here. Don't need that. I'm not a meat expert by any means, but I think out of all the different meats that I've tried, New York, ribeye, brisket, flank, I mean all the different types. I mean for steaks, you can't go wrong with the ribeye. It's one of my favorites. Of course, you've got the filet mignons. You've got the A1 Wagyus. I think I was at Costco the other day and I think they were selling two different steaks with like marble fat on it for like $100 or over $100. I'm like, is that worth it? At some point, I definitely want to try it. But for a normal meal, cooking at home, I don't know if it's worth it. By the way, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm a pretty slow eater. I like to enjoy my food. I think when I was younger, I used to be able to wolf my food down and just without even chewing, right? But as you get older, your metabolism slows down a little bit. Also, I think you want to enjoy kind of the experience of enjoying a meal. Usually when I'm out eating with other people too, I kind of try to, match the pace of the people that I'm around with. Because if you end up eating way too fast or way too slow, either you're waiting for them or they're waiting for you, and it just creates sort of this like awkward moment. When I'm eating by myself, I like to enjoy my food, take my time. If I actually didn't edit any of my videos, I think they'd be pretty long, so thanks for being patient. Almost at the finish line. Yeah, the flavoring is just perfect. And the texture. Oh, I just ate a fatty piece. For some reason, whenever I eat steak, it always kind of reminds me of that scene in The Matrix when that one guy who betrays Neo and all of his friends is in the Matrix and he's talking to the agent and the agent's whining and dining him and he's eating the steak and he's talking about how this is all fake, but he's still willing to live in that dream world because it's all about his own personal pleasure and hedonism. I don't know, just a weird thought. Does anyone else think like that? Or is it just me? Final bite. A plus. I mean, what can I say, guys? Can't complain. Almost the perfect meal. Well balanced, you know, pretty healthy, I guess, in some ways, as long as you cut out a lot of the fat, which I did. But I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied. Kind of a heavier meal for dinner, but you know, once in a while, if you do this, I think it's okay. So that was that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, I'll see you guys.